Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Cruising Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Cruz, and today is Sunday, July 9th. Wow, we're in July 9th. Goodness gracious. Where you can find the Cruising Podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Patreon, YouTube, and anywhere else you can find podcast needs. That's where you can find the Cruising Podcast. Also, you can find latest updates of shows on Instagram at Cruising Podcast, also on Twitter at Nightdown Finest. And today we are not alone. Oh no, we are not alone. This today, as you guys probably know, is going to be the Warrior Cast, and I would like to introduce the magnificent Michael Carrell. How are you doing
Oh,
today,
thank
Michael?
you. Oh, thank you, sir. I'm doing well, especially after that intro. I am ready to go.
Oh man, so where can they find you?
They can find me pretty much everywhere at producer Mike 975. I have the threads.
Oh,
So you can find me there. You can find me still on Twitter. You can find me anywhere. Just search at producer Mike 975 and follow me on all your favorite podcast platforms. Well, you can follow Comicast on all your favorite podcast platforms. You can follow producer Mike on all your favorite social media platforms. There you go.
and just in case everybody doesn't know, Comicast is with him and Jung Lee talking about the latest comic book and comic book movie news. All pretty much anything nerdy is
Yeah.
the Comicast.
Yeah, like right now we're doing mainly like Secret Invasion stuff. Week to week, kind of like what we're doing with Warrior, week to week recaps and breakdowns of it. Um, and honestly, there's not like a ton going on in terms of like stuff. I mean, it's kind of like a dead period in terms of like there's rumors and stuff, but nothing like that's major. So like the last episode was very much there's not a lot going on outside of Secret Invasion. So maybe we'll get some more when it comes to Comic-Con coming up in a couple weeks. But with the writer's strike looming, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I will say.
Am I the only one that thinks that that show is like moving in like quicksand? Like every time it seems like they're starting to go somewhere, they just go right back down. It's just I never these MCU shows have definitely been a little bit disappointing, except for Loki and maybe What If, but that's pretty much it for real.
I'm I'm liking Secret Invasion, but like I think there's one big thing that happens. I don't want to save in case people haven't checked it out. There's one thing that happens in episode 1 that they don't really kind of expand upon, or certain characters don't like. I don't know, are moved by. It seems like it just kind of happens and then they go, and it's a little weird. It's set up some interesting things, but one of the things I would like it to see is with a lot of the MCU shows, they're like 35, 38, 40 minutes maybe. And it really could use just a little padding. Just, just a little like extra scene here and there. Kind of like what, like Warrior does, where you're bouncing around to the different storylines and everything. Secret Invasion is good. Like I like it, but it just needs just a little bit more. Because like minor spoiler, not really a big thing, is a character tells another character, we're leaving tomorrow morning. And it was like a big deal or whatever. And then literally the next like frame is them leaving. So it was like, did we need that? Like you could have just said we got to go, and then boom, they were there. It's just like little things like that. It's very nitpicky, but I don't know. It people were comparing it to Andor, like Andor levels, and it's not Andor. It's good, like I like it, but it's not Andor.
My last thing about it, and then we can get to Warrior.
Yeah, then we get to Warrior. Yeah.
My last thing about it is like you said, it doesn't have enough padding for a show that's only 6 episodes. I don't.
Yeah.
It feels like you're gonna start run into that convolute. Like now you're gonna have to rush everything at the end, and I'm kind of worried about that part of the story because we only got 3 episodes left.
Yeah, it's. I will say too. Sorry, and then definitely getting to Warrior. The other thing too, and maybe it's because I just watched Citadel. Like I just finished that show right before I started watching Secret Invasion, and Citadel was doing like the twists and turns, but like they were popping them like candy. Like they were just doing it. And then this twist and then that twist. It was just a little like over the top with it. Whereas Secret
Exactly.
Invasion like understands how to utilize a twist better and rather not throw 3 twists in the same episode where like it almost like Citadel felt like a soap opera. Secret Invasion feels like a, oh, we're going to give you a oh snap moment at the end of each episode that makes you go, huh, okay, what's going to happen next? And it's been okay, but it could use a little bit more padding. And you know, there's a bigger thing that you can listen to on Comicast when we talk about it in terms of episode 1 and
That
episode
was
2.
that was a very, very slight preview of what normally happens on Comicast, except a way more intelligent person talking to Michael Carrell. So, just putting it
Eh,
out there.
eh. And I'm like, I'm semi like, I don't know. I get by. Jong is the leader.
but talking about Warrior, we start off with the scene right after the whole invasion of Nellie's what's it
Like a
Sonoma,
vineyard.
yeah, her
Yeah,
Sonoma
Sonoma, yeah.
Sonoma vineyard. We start right
Mhm.
pretty much pick up right where we left off, which, man, Warrior just knows how to, like, all right, look, we did this big thing and we're going to go right back to it, not try to do
Mhm.
anything different. We're going to go right back to it. What did you think, like, her, like, really a toy saying, I'm leaving and practically not coming back because you can't protect us.
Yeah, it's funny because you know, watching the episode and even like I guess even during the recap, it kind of like I mean, I think I mentioned it last time when we did this, but like it really hits for me in terms of what the show is in terms of identity and can you shed the type of person that you are that people have maybe thought of you
Mhm.
previously. And I think with like specifically talking about a toy and the girls that she's brought to Nellie's Vineyard, like they were trying to shed that, you know, they work in brothels and it's, you know, all this and that. But like a toy says, you can't, like, for one, I can keep them safe in Chinatown. Yeah, it's not the greatest working thing. Like I don't want them to be doing this, but at least I can keep them safe. Whereas Nellie couldn't keep them safe. And that's what she promised. And she couldn't do that. And so that really hurts a toy because obviously she cares for Nellie. Like that, I don't think that's still in question. But
Mhm.
she, I mean, a toy does look out for the people around her so much. And you like she says, you can't be happy when you're dead. I mean,
I
you
like
can't.
that.
It's fun fact, you can't be happy when you're dead. You're just dead. So
Yeah,
uh
yeah.
so like I mean, I get where she's coming from, but it's also fresh, so I imagine it's just I mean, it was traumatic for her to go through it. And then she also, you know, she did her best in terms of trying to defend everyone and she I mean, she did good, but the shoulder is still hindering her and she's still not like 100% like she was before the shoulder injury and all that. So it's a tough position for a toy. It was a brutal opening, like to see the devastation that was left by Strickland's men and to see where they're at. I mean, it was tough, man. It's rough, but I get where a toy's coming from in terms of I gotta just go back to the brothel and forget all this other stuff. Like I can't keep them safe that way. I got to keep them safe my way, the way I know how to do
Mhm.
it.
And I think what we see a little bit, like maybe a couple scenes later, is that she carries a lot of weight in Chinatown. And
Hmm.
just off the one scene where the guy is kind of manhandling one of her girls, she calmly walks up to him and says, "You better chill out, like leave her alone." Dude, and he's Hopway. He's one of the most dangerous
Hmm.
people in Chinatown, and she literally tells him this kind of, you better chill out, and it shows us, it reaffirms to us that, like, yeah, she can, that this is the best way that she can protect these girls is inside of the brothel. And and also, we see that she has been paying O'Hara under the
Mhm.
table, and it looks like
Mhm.
that protection is probably going to be gone here soon, and so
Yeah.
she's probably going to have to employ the help of the Hopway. So
Mhm.
it's just the respect that she, I guess, is garnered in Chinatown. I guess mostly because, you know, she, like you said, she's willing to help anybody else. It has been
Mhm.
helping in Chinatown. It's just that protection definitely is going to be way better there than anywhere else. And another thing that came true and also in that scene for us from last week is that, of course, Assam finds out and wants to go help her, and she's like, no, no. I was surprised. I was a little surprised by that. I'm not gonna lie, but I was like, it's like you said earlier, it's fresh on it, freshly just happened, and it looks like that she kind of wants to get back to the way of life that she knows best right now, like just to have some
Mhm.
semblance of normality.
I think she's also scared too, like
Mm,
because they do that long scene where she's putting on the makeup, she's putting on the dress, this and that, and it's like she puts on her mask, her defensive mask when she has that, like the sense of commanding the room and commanding respect.
mm,
When really she's just scared and she doesn't want to lose more of the girls and she don't want to put them in harm's way. And I think obviously she wanted Sonoma to work, not only just for them, but obviously for her and what she has with Nelly. That,
mhm,
you know, she wants that to work, obviously, but she's scared. She don't want to do that. But I do think with what's her name, Lai, who was ready to fight that dude
yeah,
when he started messing with the one girl, and she like got the wine bottle and was like ready to smack the dude.
mhm,
I think like her and maybe Assam are gonna kind of push her to like don't let this go. Like what they had was probably better in terms of they were happy, there were, you know, there was no problems, they worked, and it was like a decent life, you know? I mean, maybe it wasn't perfect, but it was, you know, you didn't have to look over your shoulder necessarily all the time or you know, do what you have to do to live, like how they're working in the brothel. But I think a toy's scared right now, and it's going to take Lai and some of the other ones to kind of shake her out of that and push back. And then I just, when you mentioned Assam, when he comes through, like I'm ready to ride, like I'm ready to go right now, like well,
mhm,
let's go do that. And it was like I love Assam. He's so cool. He's so great.
yeah,
He was ready, like even with all the stuff that's going on with him, he's still like again I mean a toy, she's like one of the leaders and one of the people you look towards, and she, and you know, there's obviously they, Assam and her have had a relationship since episode 1 way back in season 1, like they've established a rapport with each other, and he'll always like look out for her and defend her in any way he can.
and that's what I like about that's what I like about their relationship, because I'm kind of I'm kind of wary now, because as we saw at the end of this episode with him and the prince's daughter, but like, is he still going to be doing that if she's around? You know, that's the only thing I'm kind of worried about, because yeah, he can drop everything now and go to a toy, but maybe later on he might have
Mhm.
his focus kind of split. So I'm hoping that continues, like their relationship, their ride or die relationship with each other. But
Mhm.
I'm really scared that it might get a little messed up with this new relationship blooming for him and young May, I
Uh,
think. Yeah.
Yan Mei, yeah, I think with their relationship that's obviously grown a lot over the last like 2 episodes. I think she, well, obviously like he fights the cops and everything, and you know, not a
Hmm.
big fan of that obviously because that puts everyone in danger. But like I get it from Assam's point of view. It's like they can't, I mean, if they find us right now, we're screwed. So we have to do something. But I
Hmm.
think I think she understands Assam's need to protect people. And so like he did in the riots and like he did like I think she's understands and supports him in that sense because he can be that protector of so many people in Chinatown. but when it comes to the Hopway, like that stuff, I don't think she's gonna necessarily put up with. Like I could see her being okay with like helping a toy, but also if he's like straight up murdering people, maybe she's not gonna be like as. I mean, I could get it. Like, I don't know that I want to be dating someone that's just straight up murdering people. I understand, but like I could see her being more, I guess, forgiving for like protecting a toy or protecting just the people in Chinatown in general.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think I like that this episode was very it sprinkled back into the pond a little bit, but it seemed like it was a very heavy Chinatown episode. And like
Mm-hmm.
what we saw with the counterfeits, like it's crazy that right away when we talked about this last week, it's like when are they going to find the counterfeits? And it seemed like almost right away they found the counterfeits.
Oh yeah.
Especially when they still live that merchant.
Yeah, I mean, and then on top of that, like this goes back to just young June just being foolish with it. I mean, him giving it to everyone in Hopway territory, and them being like, "Well, it's in Hopway territory. Who runs Hopway? I don't know. Maybe they got it." It was like it was very like it was that short-sighted like viewpoint of young June trying to do that ended up biting him. And I mean, it didn't take long to figure everything out. It didn't take. I mean, they were on it like ASAP in this episode.
It's crazy because like we're literally just saying like how they were gonna find it. I was completely wrong with the Happy Jack, but them finding it through a merchant like that, I'm not gonna have any loyalty to you if you like gave me fake money and I'm losing the money now. And of course, the thing that connects all the dots together is a Hopway member having it inside of the opium den with Lee. So it's just they are not the smartest with counterfeit money.
No, not so much. And young June. I mean, like I get young June's point, but you gotta be like if you're doing something like that, you gotta be more careful and just take your time with it. You can't just go throwing around counterfeit money like it's nothing. You know what I mean? Like you gotta take your time. But then again, that goes back to young June having a lack of foresight, I think.
Mm-hmm. And that's where his dad will come into play right there. Like, why would you have the printing press inside of our headquarters and then have it in the most obvious hidden door I've ever seen in my life?
I mean, at least block the door. I don't know, like, and not just put. I don't know. It was just not the wisest of decisions. Like, even from the beginning, why would you put the press in the basement? Basically, like, it feels like you would have that at another facility. I guess you would have to have people around to guard it a lot more. But I mean, I don't know. Like, it's probably not a good idea.
Because you probably are going to be the first one to get raided for some counterfeit cash. That's pretty federal.
Right, yeah. But to be fair, if Chow hadn't warned them, they would have been screwed. Yeah, they would have been. I mean, they would have been done. They would have been all probably arrested.
What's crazy is that Chow only showed up in one scene and was a major contributor to the rest of the show.
True. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. He was literally one scene.
And I was sitting there like, wow. It didn't even say a word. It's crazy. He didn't even say a word and was a major contributor. It's just it's crazy how that all just connected to each other. Now I'm afraid for him now because I feel like the cops, especially Atwood, is definitely gonna have his sights on him now, and that dude is ruthless.
Oh, Chief Atwood's a lunatic, as I think O'Hara says. Like that man is oh god, that man's bad. That is a bad dude. That is a bad dude.
Who do you think is worse right now? Is this going to? Do you think it's like the actual big bad? Is it Strickland or is it Atwood that's going to be like the big bad at the end of the season?
Strickland, I think, because he's smarter than Atwood. He's playing a game. Like he's playing chess, Atwood's playing checkers, like Atwood's just very emotional. Like he wanted young June to challenge him just so he could beat him up. You know what I mean? Like he just wanted to do something to somebody. Like he's just unhinged in the highest degree. Whereas Strickland, he's very smart and very methodical with the way he's attacked Nellie and her vineyard, the way he's pulling Leary in some way, like for a greater gain for himself. I don't think he's just solely helping Leary become a politician and be more powerful for just because. Like, I mean, maybe I know they bonded over the soldier aspect in episode 3 or 2 or 3 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a bigger game that Strickland's playing with everybody, and I think that's the bad dude. You know, Atwood, like I could see them figuring something out with Atwood because he's not the brightest. Like for one, why would you go in guns blazing front door to the Hopway and rather not, like, I don't know, catch them by surprise, you know, versus just banging in the front door, marching down the main street, like with the whole army of cops. Like, why not approach it from different angles and have a couple here? You know what I mean? Like, he's just not the brightest of villains. I feel like he's like the mini boss before the big boss, video game terms.
I completely understand. I completely, I agree with that one. I feel like Strickland is using Leary as like the railroads were using the Pinkertons. Like he's using Larry to like pretty much do his bidding right now. And I didn't like, once you see that he paid off the judge to kind of screw over Nellie, it was like, oh, it's starting to get written into the walls. Like he's going to be that guy. And plus he has the money, you know, and he's going to have the political background behind him, especially if Buckley wins. Like he's definitely going to have the politicians in his pocket. Like he's going to be a problem for the end of this season. He's conniving. So it's just, I think every time I see that actor, that's the type of character he plays. I don't know. It's just,
oh really?
He plays it very well.
Well, yeah, he does nail it because he's a terrible person in the show, and it's. I wonder what the ultimate goal is with Leary. Like, is it strictly to just get him more skilled and become more powerful? I don't think so. Like, there's a bigger game at play here, and like he says, he's like, I don't want to reveal the full details just yet, or whatever he says when they're talking about it. But there's something bigger. But like, I could see Leary turning on him if Leary feels like he's being toyed with in any way, you know. Like I could see Leary, like Leary and him can be powerful with each other, but I could see Leary turning on him at the drop of a hat if he slights him in any way,
because he's teaching him a little too well, you know, about the behind the scenes of politics and things like that. So it could definitely bite him later on, like kind of teaching Leary, like throwing little nuggets here and there. Like he seems like Leary is figuring out, like, I'm not going to be able to do this with my fist for forever.
And I think too with like Leary, his, like, I think Strickland is selfish for himself, you know, and gaining money and gaining power and this and that. While Leary is not the greatest of people, I do think still he ultimately is just for the Irish at the end of the day. And like that is over everything. So that's why, like, I think Strickland thinks he can manipulate Leary in a way that others can be manipulated, like the judge, like just give him, you know, women, money, power, all this and that. Leary is a different kind of dude where he's going to do what's right for the Irish at the end of the day. And that's his ultimate thing. So if Strickland impedes on that in any way, I could see Leary flipping on him like that.
Oh yeah. And once again, another guy that only showed up for about one scene. I think we only seen Leary one time. And
I think it was I think it was just the when he shows up at the house or whatever.
So it's crazy that like those scenes really have we've seen them too, because we've seen them in the court.
Yeah, the courtroom. Yeah.
But it's he's playing a big part. Like these guys are playing like really small roles right now, but have like really big implications in this show. Like it's crazy how the show works with like the smaller characters and how big of an impact they actually are. Um, Especially with like Lee and his girlfriend and Happy Jack. Like,
Mhm.
I wonder what's going to happen with there too with those two.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because obviously Happy Jack knows about the bounty
Hmm.
for Lee. I wonder if he's going to do it like himself, like if he's going to try and get the bounty for himself, or if he was going to use it in some way against him. But I think Lee now has a very powerful ally with Mosley. I don't know where the Happy Jack Lee angle is going to go. Like if it's going to come to a showdown between the two of them, or if there's something more in terms of maybe like he like knocks out Lee and like takes him into to Georgia to get the bounty or something like that. I don't, who knows. But that one I'm very like, where are we going with this? Because like Happy Jack confronts him and like the best thing for you to do is just go, and Lee's obviously not going to do that.
Mm-mm.
There's a showdown brewing between those two at some point, but I don't know what type of showdown it is. I don't think it's just a fight. Like I maybe it's just a physical fight, but I don't see it as just that.
This seems like one of those storylines where like we're gonna keep getting sprinkles of it, and then at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the season you just see like like Lee's on top doing like he's winning and things like that, and all of a sudden he gets knocked out and inside
Yeah,
of a carriage. Like this seems like one of those type of storylines to me.
yeah, like he, yeah, he could be like knocked out, and then at the very like one of the very last scenes of this season is him in a carriage on his way to Georgia.
Hmm.
In some way, I could see that in a lot of ways. I wonder too with Mosley, because I think Mosley, like he says to him, I wrote it down because I thought it was a fun like thing to say to him. He said, "I can see why the other cops didn't like you. You actually work for a living." And and, and that's that moment. It's like I wonder if Mosley is gaining. Obviously he lost his partner when we first saw him.
Hmm.
Is he looking for a new partner? And is Lee going to be that for him? Like, would he offer a job to Lee because I mean, Lee's displayed. He's a cop through and through. Like he's smart about what he can do, and he's smart. Like he figured out the whole like counterfeit thing by himself, really.
Hmm.
Maybe not by himself completely, but still, like he figured it out. So does Mosley? I think Mosley recognized what a good copy is, and I could see him offering him a job by the end of this and being like, I need a new partner.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I like Lee. I like Lee's
Yeah.
character because he seems very genuine. I've always been a fan of his character. So yeah, I'm hoping good things for Lee. I'm hoping good things.
Lee is one of the few like I think genuinely good guys on the show, like
Hmm.
he's had his the drug abuse and all that, but like it seems like he's overcome it when we get that scene in the opium den, because I think he was there just for cop stuff, but was actually gonna, like, he thought about it and was gonna smoke it, but then he was like, no, 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 I gotta do my job. Um, but like he's come a long way from where we saw him in the first season and everything, and I I do like Lee, and I'm curious to see where he goes.
For sure. So, all right. So, switching gears for a little bit, going to go to the long. I'm gonna mess this up. Long Z.
Yeah,
Yes.
Longzy.
Yes. All right. All right. So with the long Z, we see that once again, I knew I was going to forget his name.
Oh, Lee Young.
Lee Young. I
Hmm.
always get it mixed up. Okay, Lee Young, is practicing with Kong, with
Hmm.
with their martial arts and everything like that, and they have a conversation. It's like, look, man, it looks like your mind's off it, and he's mad that My Lane keeps going back to the pond, and of
Hmm.
course, we see later on why. But he's mad that he can't protect her, which he said, what, episode 2, 3?
I
I think
believe it was might have been episode 3. Yeah.
he was worried about her going to like he's been sprinkling it in like I don't
Hmm.
like you going there because I can't protect you, and it comes to fruition almost almost instantly, like at the end of the
Mhm.
episode. So, do you think that he's going to assume power for a while now, or because I'm sure she's going to be in there for a while.
Yeah, like that was like the big like oh snap twist for me was I did not foresee both Young Jun and Mai Ling getting arrested in the same episode. So that puts the Tongs in a very interesting position. I think Lee Young is the de facto leader while she's in jail. And I could see some of the folks around the Long Z being like, I mean, let her like let's leave her there and you run things because we believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Lee Young's gonna just abandon her. I think he's worried. He was worried from the jump of her going to the pond and what could happen. And this is like worst case scenario for that. And I wonder if because I was wondering if Lee Young and Mai Ling or excuse me, Mai Ling and Young Jun would be like in cells close to each other or something like that, but it doesn't seem like that'll be the case based off the preview for the next episode.
Mm.
But I wonder if there's a truce to come between the Tongs in some way, like a redoing of the peace treaty that they had in season 2 because of what's happened, like being unified against the police, basically, because the police have just abused them to no end. And this Chief Atwood guy is like off the wall. So I wonder if there's a truce to be had in some way. And Lee Young and Assam approach each other because I feel like Assam would be the de facto leader with Young Jun being out. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Lee Young would be the de facto leader. And I think while they want to fight each other, there's an inherent respect between the two of them.
Between him and Lee Young.
Lee Young and Assam. I think there's a respect. And Kong Pak, I'd be curious to see. Like, I could see him like just pushing Lee Young to not like save Mai Ling. Like, don't worry about her. You run things. We trust
Mm-hmm.
you. We think you have a better goal in mind in terms of keeping us. Because like Mai Ling's goals have always been big and expansive, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but where it's now put her, it's put her in a dangerous spot. And you see what the white people did. You can't trust them.
Hey,
You can't trust them because like obviously I don't know how much that what's her name Eliza saw. It seems like she only saw like the tail end of Mai Ling and Bernard's encounter.
mm-hmm.
But
But
like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I have no idea. I lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
No,
bad.
you're
I'm
good.
sorry. But when I was watching it and I was like, wow, we said this that she was going to get in trouble over there
Yeah.
somehow. Next episode. It
Yeah,
seems like
literally the next episode. Yeah. I was
we
surprised how
prophesied
quick it was.
we prophesied so much. It seemed like all right, maybe she'll go have a business partner with her husband, make a little bit of money, and then everything goes down. Like the wife gets jealous or something like that. You're getting a little too close, and then she gets arrested for it. The
Yeah.
very next episode.
Bernard didn't waste any time.
Oh no, not at all. That dude was like, "Hey, look, I and like you said earlier, everybody's trying to get rid of that perception of
Mm-hmm.
themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and with the Chinese, it seems like a lot of the white people feel like they are either fighters or gangsters or they're prostitutes or things like that, or they're here, they use their body for business purposes, and it seems like he had that perception in his mind about her. And of course, he went to go lie to his wife. He's going to lie and say, "Oh,
Of
well, she was the one
course.
touching me." And
Of
and
course.
I wonder what's going to happen with that money that she gave him. Is it gone? Is he going to practically stealing the money now? And what what is going to be the response from the Long Z when they find out about it? And with Liza, I like you said, I think she did see the probably the tail end of it, and then got the full picture from her husband, that which was a lie. and like
Mhm.
she said, it was solicitation. So it feels like that storyline was going to happen no matter what. I'm just surprised how quickly it came together because like I said, I thought they were going to at least build a little bit of money together before like something like that would break down. And I'm hoping that there's a truce between the Long Z and the Hopway, especially with the police presence. Like they've been getting beat around since the riot. No, since the riots. And
Mhm.
it's just them getting peppered by the police, them getting probably now by the federal government looking in on them now. I wonder if they're going to have the counterfeit money with each other, maybe start helping each other out with the counterfeits, maybe
Mhm.
trying to warn each other, hey man, this is when the cops are coming, because I don't think Chow's going to have that much insight for now on, since like almost right away Lee was like, Chow warned him. Chow
Yeah.
definitely told him that I was coming, and it was no surprise, nothing like that. So it seems like I'm really hoping and that the healthy respect between Assam and
Lee
Lee
Young.
Young.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
I'm gonna get the names right, I promise. I'm bad with anime names too, so I'm sorry. But with Lee Young and Alsam, I think their respect for each other, and also they're both warriors at heart,
Mhm.
and the business side is pretty much like secondary for them. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that that respect between the two for martial arts um supersedes the whole tongs going to war with each other. I hope they go to war together to
Yeah.
fight against oppression for their, not just for them but for their people
Yeah, because
again.
it's more. Yeah, because the Tong business only goes so far. If the police are like they are right now, there no one survives that. So it's better to combine forces for now and fight this new danger off. That is obviously a huge threat. I mean, with the fact that they've arrested both heads of the families, like that puts both families in a dangerous position. But also too, like with the preview kind of hinting at, Buckley approaches Mai Ling, and that puts their relationship in jeopardy, their arrangement. And who knows what happens there. Does Buckley break off the Mai Ling relationship? And even more so, it feels like that would fuel the combination of Hopway and Long Z kind of combining forces in some way to fight this off, because I mean they're getting their backs are against the wall in this case.
Mm-hmm. and
Also,
and
Chow,
spe-
it looks like he's in a bit of trouble too,
oh, is
I
he?
should say. Yeah, it looks like it based off the little so quick beef. I didn't realize that there was a little preview at the end of each episode. Did you know this? I didn't know this.
Oh,
Because like the way when you're watching on Max, the episode finishes and it makes the credits small,
oh.
and then it's like I guess okay, there's nothing. I just happened to be like on my phone, and then I happened to look up and there was a preview going. I was like, wait, what? So I brought the credits back up. Like if there's something else, don't make the credits small. Like that's like in the streaming land. When you make the credits small, that means no more scenes, no more nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you make the screen small if there's not, what I mean? Like that made no sense to me. So turns out, stay tuned after the credits because there's a little preview for the next episode.
Oh man, I'm scared. I normally get worried about watching previews because I know people like to put too much into their previews.
Oh
So it's
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I normally try to skip it. I didn't know they did that though. I've never
Yeah.
seen my credits go like that.
My credits went like to the left hand corner or whatever, and then it was here's some other things you could watch, and it gave me like a bunch of suggestions and stuff. But like, why put it all the way up in the corner if there's a preview for the next episode? And it's a short, it's like 30 seconds. It's really,
Oh.
and it shows a little bit but not too much, kind of give you an idea of what's happening with each character to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm.
um but not like too much, so it's like it's not too bad. um the main thing that like I think was seemingly revealed is that Buckley's questioning Mai Ling, and it's like, uh-oh, is their relationship in trouble? But yeah, like that was my beef with Max. Like, what are you doing? Like, just leave the credits on and let me have the decision to get out of it, or put the little recommendations at the bottom of the thing and let me hit the back button or whatever, because I don't want it. I want to just watch the credits. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just had to vent about that. That was stupid. Like, why did it take me to episode 4 to find that out? Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Hey, HBO Max, this is a public service announcement, not just from Michael, but also from me. Do better.
Well,
do better.
Well, now it's Max. No
sorry.
HBO needed, because who knows that brand?
Whoops.
Yeah, right.
Because everybody watched Cinemax at one point in life. But speaking of Buckley, oh man, I normally have beef with all these apps. But
Understandably
speaking of
so.
Buckley, and he is in a weird position. Because the woman that is, I guess she's courting him, not him courting her.
Oh yeah, she's 100% courting him. Yeah,
she is very aggressive.
She has him shook.
Oh yes, yeah. I've never seen him like this. Like anybody have him on his heels. Really, he's really been the one, been really aggressive about, especially once he became mayor. It's just his message of getting the Chinese out. Like that's really been like a really strong message that he keeps putting out there. But it seems like she gives us a different side of him, that he's a little bit vulnerable now, and he's like he said, like, what are you gonna think of me when I'm not mayor? Like she's like, oh yeah, well, it won't matter, but you are going to be mayor. And I think this is my prediction, that she's going to kill Franklin, like because that smear campaign did not work at all.
Oh yeah, it didn't work. He, like, the way the dude like flips it, and it's like, well, my brother, it's this thing. I hate that it came out to the press, and I can't deny it. Like he totally made it into a win for himself. And I imagine Buckley giving the Buckley stare if he was there, because it'd been like, you serious right now? But yeah, like the dude completely played it off, and now I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's because I don't know about this one. Like, I don't know. Maybe she's into him. Like, but again, I feel like most everyone, there's a bigger game at play with everybody. Even like Buckley's trying to weed it out, honestly, and she seems to be forthcoming. But is she though? Is she?
She's a very interesting character, to say the least.
Yeah, she is.
I think that she likes that power. At the same time, that I think she does like Buckley. I hope for him. Well, not for him. I don't really. He's a racist, so it's cool.
Yeah,
but
he's kind of racist.
Yeah, yeah. So, but with her, it feels like she's willing. She already seemed like she was willing to go that extra mile to make sure that he becomes the mayor. And I think at some point she either tries to kill the mayor, or she's successful at killing him, because it seems like she can get into the same places that Buckley and him can get into. Maybe poison, not shooting, or maybe hire somebody. I don't know, but I think she's going to be behind that man's death for sure.
What if she, like, this just occurred to me, on the flip side, what if she's like a secret plant by the good guy mayor to try and get dirt from him or something like that, and she finds the Mai Ling pictures in some way, like she gets a hold of those pictures and reveals it in some way?
Okay, we're getting to becoming a conspiracy theory podcast, and I like it. That, whew, man, that's some CIA type deals right there. Oh, okay.
What if?
Now you've opened up some avenues there.
Like, I imagine the picture is going to come into play. Like, even though Mai Ling's kind of like in jail and everything, what if? Just what if?
And due to our past history, it normally comes to the next episode.
Right? Yeah, literally next episode we reveal it. Like, oh, okay.
Because like you said, they're having a conversation together. Like, you pretty much put me she does kind of put him in a pretty bad spot right now because they've been
Yeah.
working together. And now,
Yeah.
oh, you've been working with a woman that will solicit other women's husbands here in the pond. Oh
Mm-hmm.
no.
Mm-hmm.
And
And I should say too, I wonder with the woman, like maybe it is like a power thing, and she is trying to push Buckley to power in some way, and maybe it is legitimate, but it is ultimately for her own goals of power in some way.
mm-hmm. So, is there any other storylines that you like going on so far, especially through this episode?
Well, like we talked about Myling, like the whole Myling and Eliza and Bernard thing. It obviously came to a head. I was wondering what the angle would be. Uh, I think going back to the money, I think the money is just gone, and I imagine that's another thing that kind of comes into play for them to like the Hopway and the Long Z to like, or maybe not the Hopway, but like at least the Long Z being like, we're gonna get our money back. We're gonna find a way to get that money back that Bernard basically stole from Mai Ling.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine, I don't know if that's coming to a head in the next episode. I imagine most of the next episode has Mai Ling in jail. Uh, I do wonder. We haven't talked about it because there really wasn't too much to talk about. But like Hong and the singer going to that private club where they can just kind of be themselves and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is a further push into the singer trying to get Hong away from that hatchet man life and do something different with things. I could see the singer, I forget the singer's name, so that's why I'm just saying the singer. I
Mm-hmm.
could see the singer like just kind of pushing Hong out of that. Like and the same thing with like Lai with a toy. I could see Lai pushing a toy to fight back. Like I could see different characters kind of pushing things up in some ways for these different characters to shed things. And then I guess just one quick last thing is just Assam whooped the mess out of those five people. He whooped the
Goodness
mess out of
gracious.
them. It was so good. Oh, it was so good.
I love that he knocked out all the lights and everything so they wouldn't see him, and he's like, "No, they never saw us." Of course, they
Yeah.
didn't see you. It's like pitch black.
It was pitch black, raining, and then I thought, because the cops didn't want to be like, yeah, one guy beat all five of us. I thought they were gonna push more into the yeah, it was a bunch of them just jumped us, and I thought they were gonna push more into that, but they seemed to flip. Because the first thing that one cop said was like, "Yeah, they beat us. There was I don't know. I know he said it plural,
Mhm.
um, and then he flipped and he was fast, and so it was like, oh, okay, so it does make it sound like it's one person, but making it sound like it's one person. Assam wasn't there when they raided the Hopway headquarters. Bill and Lee, I think, know Assam. I mean, obviously, Bill talked to Assam earlier, and I think it was the first episode of the season.
Mhm.
So I wonder if they're going to put two and two together. Like, who's the best fighter? Probably Assam. Who could do that to five people, beat the crap out of them? It's Assam.
I was just about to bring that up too with the whole you raided the hideout. I mean, well, their base, and one of the main people weren't there, and you didn't
Yeah.
really put those two and two together almost right away. It's kind of weird. Well, kind of incompetent by these San Francisco
Yeah.
police people, but they probably think they all look the same, knowing the
That's
way they
what.
were talking.
Yeah, that's 100%. Like the Atwood and all the other ones, because they're just racist. They're stupid.
Mhm.
They couldn't put two and two together. It takes somebody like a Lee or even somebody like a Bill to like realize the bigger things at play, because they completely, like, I think Atwood and the rest of them completely underestimate the Hopway, the Long Z. Like they completely underestimate a lot of them. So
Because I think this raid by itself is going to get Atwood in some type of hot water already, because they're trying to get a win. Like no matter the reason why they brought him in is because he's, I guess, brutal against the Chinese, of course, but
Yeah.
also that he was getting wins in New York, and right now he's getting losses. The only thing you did was bring in Young June, mostly because Young June's mouth, and it's just, it seems like we're starting to spiral into a place where he might lose that badge, and then he becomes touchable to Chinatown, because he's going to mess up and go to Chinatown again once he loses that badge. And somehow I'm hoping Bill becomes chief this time.
Hopefully so.
If it happens, I really hope it happens for him.
Because like I could see Bill being more in terms of like he just wants to keep the peace at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, and he wants to. But obviously, the big thing is to have his family back. So I could see him being more like we'll patrol and things like that, but we're not going to shake them down like Chief Atwood is doing. We're not going to like push things like Chief Atwood is doing. And I could see like Chief Atwood getting in trouble, not with Buckley necessarily, but with Mosley. Mosley will rip him a new one,
Mm-hmm.
because Mosley's thing is just the plates. He just wants the plates back. He could care less about anything else. He just wants those plates back for the government. And if Atwood, like this dumb thing, like Atwood coming in with the loudest drums he could, his incompetence cost them the plates probably in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Mosley goes at him pretty hard, and maybe Mosley pulls the government card in some way and gets him in trouble. I don't know that happens in the next episode, but I
Mm-hmm.
could see Mosley would probably be the person that could get Atwood out of that office at this point, unless Buckley doesn't win re-election, and it's the other guy that wins the election, because it puts, obviously Atwood is Buckley's guy, and he's probably going to ride with him no matter what. But it would take somebody like a Mosley to be like, no, this dude's an idiot. Like, get him out of here. You probably threatening like the U.S. government coming in and running things or doing things could shake things up.
He's gonna take his office. That's what he's gonna, next
Yeah.
episode. He's taking his office. He's gonna be in his office because Lee kind of destroyed Mosley's
Mhm.
office.
I hope. I hope Mosley puts him in his place, and then I hope either Lee Young or Assam beat the crap out of him. Man, I hope one of those two just wipe the floor with that dude.
Because I think what's going to happen, and this is just it's the predictions part of the podcast, is that I think that he's going to lose that badge. He's going to get, fiery mad. He's going to get drunk and think that, all right, well, I'm going to go to Chinatown with my group, because he brought his own group from New York with him.
Yeah.
And he's going to bring it, because they're all going to lose their jobs too. They're going to be pissed. And then they're going to go to O'Leary's bar, somehow get some more Irish people fired up, and then we're back in Chinatown again rioting. And hopefully he's going to get, he's he's going to get his.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. I guess that's that's my thing. But is there any other predictions either for next episode? Because apparently we're pretty good at predicting things.
Well, right. The one I want to revisit is, I think I made it last with this first Warrior cast, was that I thought, well, and I guess it could still happen, but I felt like Young June and Assam were on a collision course.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't foresee Young June getting arrested in the 4th episode. So, but maybe like I keep going back and forth with it, because I've been thinking about it. Like, I could see Assam, obviously he's worried about Young June. He wants to get him back. Maybe they stage like a rescue in some way, break him out.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it he just acts as de facto leader, and then while he's de facto leader and Young June gets out, then that's when their beef really starts happening, because maybe like, oh, it's like under Assam things are a lot more collected, a lot more like understanding, like they understand and are smarter under Assam than they are with Young June, and maybe that's where the beef starts or kind of comes to a head. I don't know, like the fact that Young June's in jail threw off my Young June Assam collision course, and maybe it's still on, but I don't know.
But I think with their relationship, since the whole trying to take over the song, I feel like with between Assam and Young June, Assam's been the Palpatine to Young June's Vader,
Yeah,
and I think now that practically Palpatine's behind bars, we're about the Tong might start getting the notion that, oh, it's been Assam pretty much been in Young June's ear, and Young June's been doing practically what Assam has been telling him. Like when he first got the power, that's how he got it, is by listening to Assam. Now him
right.
losing the power is because he hasn't listened to Assam, and they're going to see that, oh, he can run Hop Way himself. He's been practically running it Hop Way
Yeah,
the right way, and I think that he's going to garner that respect through being a warrior, and then also being, somewhat of a business guy. He's kind of he's level-headed. He
yeah,
thinks about it before he goes. So except for, when it's time to like protect people,
you're
that's the
right.
only time he doesn't think that. But like everything else seems like it's been calculated, and it feels like with the counterfeits, it would have been better calculated if Assam was in charge. And I think
Hmm.
that's where that riff is going to start, is that he gets the respect of the men that pretty much Young June's been around all his life,
Yeah,
and that's going to breed jealousy.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's happening in some way, and maybe that's just something that boils for the rest of the season and comes to a head in season 4. Maybe that's what. Maybe it's a long burn for this eventual Young June Assam clash. But I also think Yan Mei presents an interesting aspect for Assam, and where maybe she tries to pull him out of the Tong in a lot of ways, and do something different with his life. Um, I don't know. I think she presents an interesting, um, I don't want to say challenge, but an interesting dynamic for Assam, because obviously Assam is for the Tong, but again, I think he's ultimately for Chinatown over everything else, and over for the people rather than just the Tong itself. And I think he would do what's in best interest for Chinatown in general. And Yan may like push him to do that and be more thoughtful when it comes to that, and maybe push the Tongs in a different way with her in his ear. Yeah, I don't know. I think she presents an interesting dynamic for Assam that we haven't seen. Really, since I guess this is his first love interest since what was it, the mayor's wife, Penelope, I
Mayor's
believe.
wife. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Penny.
Which I
Oh
forget
Penny.
about that. Like that's been so long ago, and I mean it was a relationship that lasted for basically the first season, and then they kind of worked with each other in the second season. But that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think she ever comes back, or is she just completely been written off the show at this point?
It's crazy. And if I would have if we're going to do conspiracy now. She comes back to
Mm-hmm.
help Nelly, because weren't they
Mm-hmm.
friends beforehand?
Maybe I don't remember. I mean,
I,
it could have been. I don't know.
I think she was at the dinner table when they were kind of, what you call, was kind of, yeah, she was at the dinner table. So
Oh,
so it was her. It was like a whole, when the mayor was still alive. She
yeah, yeah.
was at this is when her husband died, and they were pretty sympathetic to each other. Women, strong women becoming business people and becoming
Oh,
more stronger, having a stronger voice. So
mhm.
I think that she comes out of whatever coma or where, I forgot what happened to her. I'm not gonna
Yeah, they
lie.
said something about like a coma or something like that, because I guess it. Who was it? Was it the mayor? I think it was her husband that was like choking her or whatever he did, and
Hmm.
her I forget the guy's name, saves her, and obviously he becomes a martyr in a sense and gets killed by the Irish.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, I think they said something earlier this season about her being like in a coma or something like that. So maybe she comes back in some way. Maybe she's not completely written off of the show.
There's an avenue for her to come back and help.
Mhm.
and help Nelly, because Nelly's going to run out of money. I don't think she can really fight this thing with the money. They said that she can fight for years, but without Sonoma, without really any other business backing, what where's the money going to come from? And Penelope has the money from the mayor dying, her waking up. She gonna have the money to help fight with Strickland. I think that's how maybe Strickland gets gotten this one, is those two women really coming together and taking them out. Because like she said, this isn't over. I don't think it's over for her.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where Nelly goes, because obviously a toy's left. Does she? What avenue does she go about to get back at Strickland? Does she approach a toy to see about, if you're going to play dirty, I'm going to play dirty kind of sense? I tried to fight it legitimately with lawyers. Maybe I got to approach a toy and talk to her and see if there's anybody that can help me get back at Strickland in some way. Maybe there's something like that, because the system is rigged right now, and there's Strickland's holding all the cards, but maybe Nelly approaches a toy in some way and like, hey, I got to fight this. Is there any way somebody or anybody can help me with this? And maybe she approaches the Hop way to help fight this. I don't know.
Time to get the old swordsman back.
I really think Lai is gonna push a toy to take up the sword again, and they could possibly go after Strickland.
They try to go at him physically.
Yeah, I could see them just taking revenge on Strickland in a lot of ways, and maybe Assam's involved, maybe not. I don't know, but I could see. I think Lai is going to be the one that pushes a toy to fight back and go back to fighting and get through this mental state that a toy's in right now, which I think is she's just kind of scared, and I don't blame her. I mean, I can't blame her for being scared after what happened. She just wants to protect her girls at the end of the day, and just wants everyone to be safe. And I could see her getting pushed by Lai to fight back, though.
Man, I can't wait. I hope so. I love watching her fight. I was just
but that's the thing too, is I don't know that she can with her shoulder. Like, is that going to be a permanent thing, or is that something she can overcome? I don't know.
I hope not. Yeah,
I know, because she's great. She's great, man.
All right. So is there anything else you have to add, or?
That's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got? That's all I got. I don't have any more predictions except for, the death of Franklin Tolly. I think that's his name. I think that's how you say his last name.
The mayor. Yeah.
Yeah. She's gonna be behind it.
Mayor candidate. Yeah.
Yeah. And his fake family.
Yeah. I wonder if he shocks Buckley and ends up winning. Like if Buckley keeps trying to do stuff against him and he just keeps like flipping it and making it work. But it's, I wonder if he ultimately ends up winning and Buckley's like, what just happened? And a lot of the different people are like, what just happened?
I think it'd be funny if like she uncovers the family, something about the family.
Yeah, that would be something, especially since like this other guy is for Chinese labor. Like maybe that's a big win in the end. I don't know. We'll see.
Alrighty, y'all. So that was the Warrior Cast for today. Episode 4 of the season 3, which was, it's a great episode. As you can see, we were able to talk. We talked longer about the episode than the episode was. It was that's what we do. But where you can find the Cruising Podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Patreon, YouTube, and anywhere else you can find podcast news, which you can find the Cruising Podcast. Also, you can find latest updates to the show is on Instagram at Cruising Podcast, also on Twitter at Nicetown Finest. And where can they find you, Michael?
They can find me on all your favorite social media platforms at Producer Mike 975. I even have some new threads. Hey, I'm a professional. You can also find Comicast on all your favorite podcast platforms. Rate, share, subscribe, do all the fun things. We're actually approaching issue 500 of the podcast very soon. So I don't know what we're going to do knowing us, we'll be like the day before being like, oh yeah, it's 500. What do you want to do? We'll see. But we're doing our Secret Invasion week by week recap. So if you want to check that out, just check out Comicast on all your favorite podcast platforms. COMICAST.
And make sure that you leave a rating and review on all platforms for both
Please do.
podcasts, please.
Yes, please do. 5 stars. That'd be nice. Really appreciate it.
5 stars. Just 5. That's all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But 500 though. I'm sorry about that.
We're approaching 500. It's wild to think that. Yeah.
How many years?
It's going to be, let's see, 20. It's 6 years now. It's going on 6 years, and we're kind of ahead of schedule in terms because we used to do 2 a week. We used to be releasing. So like the first year we released, I guess 100 episodes or close to it. So we got to 500 probably a little bit quicker. We're now down to just 1 a week, usually every Monday or Tuesday, depending on recording schedules and whatnot. But yeah, 500's coming up in like maybe like 5, 6, 7 weeks. So
wow, that's wild. That to work with somebody for like 6 years on 500, just
I
talking
know.
to somebody. That's a lot of hours talking to one person.
I've been talking to Jong for a long time.
That's awesome. Oh, okay. So once again, we check out the Comicast. They're you got 7 weeks before they hit that 500, so you better get on there. And like I said, ratings and reviews everywhere. And also go check out producer Mike 97 at all social media platforms, as you can see in the ticker going below. So with that, I would like to say I love all of you. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Catch you guys later. Deuces.